In March and in April, we brought our listening lab to neighborhoods around the community, and we wanted you to share your concerns this election cycle. With our listening lab survey in hand, we asked you to choose the top 5 issues that matter most to you.
I took those concerns today to Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz during his campaign stop in Macon. Here's what Governor Walz had to say about violent crime and inflation. Here in Central Georgia, we took out what we call our listening lab to find out what people think.
Yeah.
Top issues: violent crime, inflation.
Yeah.
Let's start with inflation. What do you tell people who wake up, frankly, each morning wondering, how am I going to get by financially?
Yeah, I tell them, Kamala Harris and I know something about it, being middle-class folks. Our families sit at the table trying to pay the bill. We know coming out of a COVID pandemic with prices where they were that people need to see some relief. And I think that's why Kamala Harris has put out a plan, especially around home ownership, making sure we're building 3 million more affordable homes, making sure we're making the down payment assistance there. Drug prices, especially for seniors, making sure we're keeping a cap on those, that's making a difference. And then making sure we're investing in rural communities, like the investment acts that have created a lot of new jobs in terms of infrastructure and other things. Those are things that we start to get a handle on it. We're seeing those come down, but folks are dealing with that. And I think the contrast is that we see a proposal from Donald Trump to put a 20% national sales tax basically on everything, adding about $4,000. Not a single economist think it's a good idea. So I think telling them that, look, we're with this, folks understand that they're hurting on this, but there's a plan to go forward, and Vice President Harris has got that.
Violent crime, you touched on the violence around there, but
Yes.
more and more violent crime, younger people committing these violent crimes. What do you see as a possible solution to that?
Yeah, well, and I think the one thing is we're seeing it that while it is lower, what I keep telling people is that's small consolation to a person who's involved in it. Now it's much lower than it's been. It was up during Donald Trump. I think for us, one of the things is we're going to have a national conversation that we did in Minnesota, and we're seeing it around gun violence. And there's things you can do. Look, I'm a veteran, a hunter. I own firearms. Second Amendment's important, but our first responsibility is the safety of our children, getting them out of there. And I think one of the other things is investing in these kids' futures. We're seeing different pathways to careers, the skilled trades, things like that. Making sure that we're not losing these kids at an early age by investing in our schools and understanding those public schools in rural communities. That is the lifeline for all of us. And I think trying to cut that out early, and what I say a lot of times, and I think it's true, is you can buy school buses or you can buy prison buses. It makes more sense to invest on the front end. It makes more invest in that. And I think Kamala Harris's plan, we saw this in Minnesota, if you want to reduce childhood poverty, the child tax credit's the way to do this. And Republicans and Democrats say it. She's got a proposal out there to save families $6,000 in that first year. That gets kids off to a good start, gets them into a good, safe place.